Hello everybody, welcome back. Today I'm going to be building a completely random house for whatever state this wheel picks. Give it a spin, see what we get. I don't really mind, honestly. Virginia. All right, let's go into Google Earth and see what house we get. All right, so we got Virginia over here on the East Coast. For anyone not from the US, you know, it's over here. Classic state. I mean, you know, classic, I guess. Drop Street View Man, see what we get. And that is not a house. So we back out and we just keep dropping the Street View Man until we find a house. That is not a house. Nice field, I guess. Low-key, all I know about Virginia is that they gave us net spend, so shout out Virginia. Drop near Richmond, you know? And not a house. I don't know what that is, but that's not a house. Hold up. I kind of like this one. Wait a minute. Do we have 3D view here? That'll be the make or break. We do. I mean, yeah, I guess it's our house. It's not bad. Do we have different pictures, maybe? Okay, nice and vibrant. Bright green. I'm liking it. All right. That is our house. I'm gonna get into Minecraft. I think what I'm gonna do is the way I'm gonna start it is just by looking at the front, and we're gonna see kind of how I can get all the kind of details in, what kind of scale I gotta work with here. But yeah, let's get in game and kind of figure that out. All right, so I think first up, I'm gonna get a block palette that I think would kind of look good. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna kind of break it up into a few parts. So we have the foundation, which I think will be something like this, mostly stone brick, but there's a bit of darker spots in there that I think are best done with cobblestone and cracked stone brick, so it'll be something like that. Next up, we have the walls, which are kind of like a dark gray. So I think something in this kind of, let me try to get a gradient sort of thing. Something like that for the walls make the most sense to me, I think. Then we have the roof, which it's lighter than the walls. So I think we're gonna have to go with stone brick again. It's probably something like that. We of course texture it. Maybe something like andesite. So yeah, probably something like that. So that's probably the general block palette. And we have like white accents, which I think I'll do with pale. It's kind of the most versatile block set. I don't want to mix colors too much. So we'll get something kind of, see, something like that. And then there will be these like kind of black accents. I think I'm gonna have to do banners. Not sure what else. Maybe deep slate. I'm not entirely sure. We're just gonna kind of get some ideas out is basically what we're doing right now. So let's not get too attached to any of the stuff we're doing here. We're just trying to get ideas for the palette basically. But that's most of the palette. Obviously we'll have like the path, which will be like sandstone, but you know, driveway and the sidewalk, I mean. So pretty simple stuff here. It's not like a crazy block palette. I think the dark gray for the walls is kind of interesting, which is why I'm pretty happy to have this house. I've done enough like white houses. I've done enough brick houses, you know. I've done enough like, I don't even know what other color houses to be honest, but I've done enough of the houses, you know? So we got a kind of cool looking dark color house, which I'm happy to do. So let's kind of start getting the scale in for the front. So I think what we'll do first here, it's kind of this front section. So I know there's gonna be a foundation layer of some sort with gray on top, but if we look up to the left, we have a porch. So we need at least one block there for the porch. So this will actually come up 2 blocks. So that's the way the scale we'll kind of be working with. Something like that. Let's get banners out for now. Kind of mark the windows. There's also a white trim. So we kind of got to think of how we scale this to fit all these details in. And I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to do that, but I'll do my best. But I think if we do something like this, like that lower pale sort of like lip we have on it. The wall also is pale on it. So it's kind of, I'm not sure, honestly. This whole thing might be just straight up pale. I'm not entirely sure if I want to dedicate a whole block to that. Probably not at that scale, I don't think. I think it'll just look a bit like bulky like that. So I think we will stick with signs. Something like that might work with the scale. This little like gap between the shutters is a bit small. A bit smaller than I would like, at least, but it's not bad. Then we kind of have this like something going on up here. I'm not sure exactly how I want to do it. Maybe something like this. And then it starts with the roof. I think it's slab for this part. Like this part looks kind of more slab-like into the stair, I would think. It's basically something like that. And I do like that. There's definitely some kind of white trim over here, which is kind of rough. I'm not sure how I'm supposed to do that. So we might just have to leave that off, unfortunately. But we'll see. I don't know. And that's basically this front bottom part. Obviously, windows, texturing, plants will all make that look way more cohesive and just full and detailed. But for now, I like the way it looks. And it gives us a good scale to work with for the rest of the house. I'm gonna real quick put this gutter here. I think it's gonna bother me that's not here. So it's basically this front wall. I like it. I'm happy with it. It's kind of a big scale. Honestly, it's scaled up a lot. So this might kind of take a while to build here, which not the best news. I mean, it's 5 in the morning right now when I'm recording this builder. I don't like that particularly. I actually think I might have an idea here. So that's what it looked like before. But what if instead we do something kind of like this, where we just like, maybe? I like it more than that, I think. The stair just looks a bit too bulky there. I think I like that. There is like a really small gap, like in real life, but I don't think there's any way to get that in while still having this kind of like under trim sort of thing. So I think we take that. But it's something like that for this front part. Let's kind of texture this and just kind of see how it's like gonna look more finished, I think. I think it'll kind of give us a good idea for what's going on with the rest of this house. Or something like that, which I'm liking it. I'm liking it. Let's try to get some like window details in. Not sure exactly how. When you're working with a window that's like 3 tall, you can't really get this thing in the middle too well. So, I know I'm spending a lot of time on this front section, by the way, but it's basically because we're going to use this as the blueprint for the entire house. So I want to be like confident that I like this. And so far I do. The only real gap in detail is probably fixable like this. And yeah, I think that looks all right. And yeah, I think that's it. I'm going to kind of like glass behind these windows. And then we're going to kind of see what it looks like basically finished on this front part. Yeah, that's fire. Come on. That's fire. That's fire. So that's definitely just kind of the template I'm going to use here for the rest of this build. I'm really happy with it. Let's kind of take a look at the house again and see what our next move is. So we're basically going to use this front part now for the scale for the entire rest of the house. So that's why we did that first, because it's kind of a nice, like, kind of just straight sort of like section here. It's pretty simple. So let's kind of see how this lines up here. So how many meters is that in real life? About 7 or so. And the whole house is about 16 or so, I think. Yes, the whole house is about 16. See, it's kind of like a ratio. We kind of scaled it up. How much are scales up here? So we doubled the scale, basically. And the house itself is about 2 and a bit of these. So if we're looking from the top down, if this is, what was this? 14 blocks. That means the whole house can be roughly like 28, probably about 30, 32 blocks, I would say, across. So let's kind of just see what that scale looks like here. Just kind of curious. That's kind of scale we'll get for the whole house. And I don't think that's bad. That's really not bad at all. All right, let's get started on this porch, I think, is probably the move. I'm just gonna extend this over. That makes sense here. And all right, let's see kind of what points we could use for a bit of a scale kind of reference here. I think I'm gonna have to use the winter street view here because I could see through this tree, but there's basically no gap here, which is kind of interesting. Like this shutter is like right on the corner. Not sure how many blocks I would say that really goes back. Not a whole lot. I haven't looked a whole lot. I didn't realize there was a whole back porch sort of section. There's a lot of windows on the back. I kind of like that. Oh, there's a garage here. Okay. Yeah, I haven't really looked at this house much. I just kind of went straight to the front part. It's about 13 by, what was that? Like 16. So that's 16 in game. I'm doing like 32-ish. That 14 is obviously like 28-ish deep. So we'll see where that takes us here. It's more square than I thought. I didn't think it was that square, but whatever. It's kind of scary out here. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to figure out in my head a few things. Basically, I'm trying to figure out if this is 3 blocks deep, I guess is kind of what it's looking like. I'm not entirely sure though. Or if it's like 4 blocks deep or 2 blocks deep. It's kind of difficult to get a reference for size here because I can't get a view of like right here. So if the whole thing is roughly 16 and this part here is what I said it was 7 about. So the rest has 9. So a ratio of 7 to 9, right? This makes sense in a second, all right? So it's just a bit longer. So if this is 14, then this should be like 18 across. So we'll cut it about here. So that makes sense for the scale in my head. If it doesn't make sense, sorry, I tried. I don't know. I'm bad at explaining. Then yeah, this whole like foundation sort of line over here. Okay, that's tough. All right, so over here, like this looks basically the same as over there. So it all makes sense shortly, okay? So there's a window here. We can use this window as scale because it's the same window as the front. So we got a window here, but the gap looks actually bigger than the front. So I think we leave a block here and then we do another window. It's all subject to change, you know what I mean? We leave a gap, another window. Because on the front we didn't leave a gap, but the gap over here looks like kind of notably like wider. Leave a gap there. Okay, and now is the weird part. I don't know how to figure out what this door is. The door looks kind of centered on that small window, which is probably in the center. All right, we're gonna get actually really complicated here, Loki. I don't know if I can, I don't know, I'm bad at explaining, okay? But this chunk here, let me get red wool out and kind of mark what I'm talking about here. This to here. Okay, so we get this. So that's 24 blocks, right? From there to there. And that, if you look at the house itself in Google Earth, you could see here how this lines up. This section goes down to the shutter, which again, the other side meets over there. So this front section, I could find the center of it to determine where this window is, which will be too wide, which won't quite work, but it's kind of the only option we really have. And that's where the door will go. So we're using big brain strategies here, but it makes sense. All right, it'll make sense. So we find the middle of this, which should be right here. That is the middle of those parts. So the door goes here, which I would say lines up with this window. And that means that there's this much space for a window over here. So we fill this in. This is a really scaled up build. Like, it's whatever. The window over here seems slightly smaller, but I don't think there's just really not a way to get that in, which is obviously a bit annoying, but there's just not really a way, I don't think. Like, that'll make it look good at least. And I gotta figure out how to get a door in here. It has a white trim on it. I think the best way we could do that, honestly, will be with pale blocks, like straight up just adding it. We'll see though, maybe not. Some kind of like window sort of detail there. Glass behind it. We should have a big door, really. Or maybe we just do something like that. We just plug a button in and we just kind of move on. It doesn't have to be perfectly accurate. My goal is never exact accuracy with these builds, so I think like that's kind of acceptable. There's a kind of a, you know, like a bit of a welcome like rug here, something like that. That's really not bad. I really don't like hate that much. Like only a little bit. I think once you get the like pillars in, everything will kind of start coming together a bit more. All right, let's get all these window details in. Actually, I think first I'm gonna texture this just a little bit. I think I'm just gonna finish up this front part and then I'll come back to you guys. All right, we'll see kind of what we're working with here and if it's looking all right or not, because I don't know. All right, I feel like you're getting the vision now. You know what I mean? We're getting there. I'm getting the vision now, and I'm the one building it. Like, it took me a minute, but we're getting the vision now. Anyway, so this kind of comes up like this, right? And I'm not exactly sure how yet, but it does. I'm assuming to here, right? I'm assuming this wall is like kind of flush, and this comes up there, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure yet. But that's not really our priority right now. What we're gonna do now is these kind of front posts on this porch. So these are centered on the door and then they're evenly spaced here. So it shouldn't be that bad to kind of figure out how they kind of exist in this space. The only challenging thing is what I'm gonna build them out of. They're probably perfect size for walls. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. Probably diorite. Won't quite match the pale, but we need that shape. So I don't really have much of a choice. Let's kind of see what this looks like. If this looks terrible, we might have to go for some other option, but we'll see. So I'm assuming something like that, which leads us to our first of many issues. And that is what is going on here, you know? And I think this has kind of an interesting solution, in my head at least. I think we could get away with a pale trim here. The white is really prominent. I think something like that won't look bad. It's not terrible. But I think this could use some adjustments now that there's like a whole white bar above it. For now, we'll leave that for now. But we basically need this, because I need this white trim in here, but this needs to be this part of the slab. So I need this to be white. I don't have another option really. And that can connect like this. How do we make this look good? Something like that, I guess. It just doesn't look right. They just look too like thin. Okay, I'm not sure if this is like realistic looking. I think I like that. If you haven't seen a video in this series, by the way, the goal isn't necessarily to like completely one-to-one copy the house, right? It's kind of to, you know, Minecraftify it a bit, give it some character, and I think I like this. I think it kind of just has a more unique look. So I think this is what I'm gonna do. I think I like that. Not bad. And yeah, this will come up here. So I think something like that. I like that. So that's kind of this front bottom part done at least. And I'm liking it. Let me texture this stone brick part and then we'll kind of just take a step back and see what we're doing next. All right. I'm liking that. Maybe went a bit overboard on like the kind of broken texturing down here, but it's not bad. All right, what next? Let's kind of figure out what's going on over here, because this part kind of interests me. So this is all flat, okay? So any depth from this to this wall is purely the angle that the street view's at. I'm gonna look and see if I can find any like realtor photos of this house when they were selling it, and maybe I can get some better kind of scale stuff on what's going on here. All right, so I got a few more pictures, which I don't know if they'll really help me that much. Probably not almost at all, if I'm being honest. All right, realistically. But yeah, this is flat here. This goes back maybe a block. The roof lines up clearly, straightens out perfectly fine. So pretty simple rectangular shape is the main part, and this one's just a block farther out. I guess the next step is just kind of finalize the scale. So we come here with the measuring tool here. So that's about 10. So if this is 10 meters IRL, okay? And this is like 6.5 meters IRL, right? So how long is this? This is 14, I believe, from the last time. So if we doubled this, then we double this. So 10. So we actually want this to go, starting here, 20 blocks. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So something like this is basically the scale. 20. Perfect. That's kind of the scale. This is a big house. All right, I scaled this up way more than I usually would. All right, but I like the way it looks. It's gonna take like 3 hours to build, and it is, I don't even know what time it is. 5:30 in the morning, but we'll figure it out. All right, so we know that this part from before comes to here, I believe. Yep. So this is a section. We'll just kind of mark this off with red wool for now. We'll come back to it later. But this part goes to here, and then also goes all the way back, and it's just kind of this main rectangle. The scale itself isn't important. The numbers aren't that important. What's important is just the ratio between them. So if one wall is twice the length of another wall, we just gotta make sure that if I scale it up, it's still twice the length of the other wall. So this ratio is 24 by 20. So it's about what? 12 by 10, 6 by 5, simplest, right? Just doing quick math in my head. So yeah, let's check if that kind of lines up in real life. This one's about 11. So 11 by 12 versus like 10 by 12. Not really bad, low-key within margin of error because this measurement tool is like terrible. So I'm happy with that ratio, honestly. So, okay, I'm understanding, I'm getting it. I'm getting what's happening here. All right, so now let's try to figure out what's going on with the scale here. So we know there's a window here because it's the one that's above the door. We made the door with the ratio of the window here. Ratio, I guess, like, you know, we knew the window was gonna be there, okay? And then all the other windows are evenly spaced. So we're gonna keep the kind of same ratio we had down here where there's a block and then a shutter. So if we got block, shutter, 2 blocks, another shutter, there's a gap here and another shutter. And yeah, I think that honestly does line up pretty well. This window in the middle is gonna be a bit weird. I'm not sure how I'm gonna make it because it's slightly smaller, but I think it'll look kind of weird if I actually make it, like maybe we could do something like this. We'll see, we'll see. We're just kind of getting the scale out for now. All right, let's chill out with that window. I know it looks bad, right? We don't gotta think about it. Like, that looks bad, but whatever. Not the focus right now, okay? We got the windows in. That's basically the scale we're going for. Same size windows basically everywhere, which is nice. These two should about line up, which they do. They're maybe slightly off in real life, but like within a block, so that is a good sign. And then there's this roof, which it's kind of weird. I'm gonna kind of experiment with some stuff, just kind of see what looks best here, really. Kind of in a bit of a conundrum here, you know? I think we just do that. It looks fine. It's not amazing. I think it's the best kind of middle ground solution. I gotta figure out what to do with this window, because now it looks like really wrong, honestly. Just kind of like an awkward middle. That's not bad. It preserves like the white frame pretty well. I don't hate that. It's not perfect. Maybe some shutters will look a bit better. That's kind of the problem too. The shutters really don't quite fit. The shutters even are like thinner on it comparatively. So it's kind of just like, it's kind of just asking for it to not look good, honestly. Like there's not a great way. So I think maybe we just kind of don't do shutters on this one, which like isn't ideal, but I think it looks better than cramming them in. We'll see. Yeah, no, not a fan. I think we just leave it like that. That's not bad. All right, let's texture this and then just kind of see what we're working with here, I guess. And then we'll kind of basically make another section like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. Actually, maybe we'll do that now. All right, we just put that here. Everything's the same height, which is nice. Lines up with the bottom, of course. Kind of 2 blocks on each side, same height. It's just one bigger window, which is kind of interesting because every window so far has been, I think, literally the exact same. So we finally got like a different window, which is pretty cool. Actually, never mind, there was a small window. My bad, forgot. I think something like that. Okay, chat, okay. Sorry, I gotta stop calling you guys chat. I'm not live. Okay, viewers. Anyway, yeah, this middle is even, so we'll do trapdoors. And yeah, I mean, that's fire. Like, I'm cooking. I don't know what else to say. Like, low-key, I don't know what else to say, all right? I'm just kind of cooking. I'm cooking in peace here. Not a whole lot of difficulties in this build. We'll see. Maybe difficulties will find me, you know? I doubt it, though, because I'm goated. All right, let's texture all this, get the glass behind it, and then just kind of look at what we're working with here for this whole, like, front facade section, because I'm liking it so far. Like, come on, like, hold up, all right? Hold up. Like, why is this low-key, like, one of the best things I've ever built? Like, I don't know, all right? I don't know. We still got a lot of work to do, but we're getting there. We gotta make these two, like, front things. Let's try to figure out what's going on here. We obviously got this middle part, and that's basically seemingly the only place that the roof isn't going up. So I'm guessing it kind of, I mean, it's kind of doing this. Let's see what that looks like. Low-key, they might be, I mean, never mind. I was gonna say it might be slightly closer to the middle, right? But if I move this to the middle, then these wouldn't line up, and they are lined up, so that's fine. Issue is, there's still like a roof ridge here. So I'm not sure how to do that. Maybe something like this. Like there's something going on here that I need to get in. All right, let's fill these back kind of sections in with gray, and then we'll kind of see how we could detail this, because it's kind of an interesting problem to like problem solve here. Those are different. Why are these different? Started this one over too far. See, that's what I meant before. Like, they gotta line up. The center's gotta be the same. All right, it's beautiful. Like, not really though. There's definitely, maybe we actually have some room to work with here, more room than I thought. I don't like this gap in the middle. It's smaller in real life, so I think we could do, right, if we were to move it like this, right, in theory, it's closer, but then the center would be here. So we add a block on this side, and move this one here. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. I think I'm basically gonna extend them both out a little bit. I think that will make it look better too, because it kind of doesn't really look too in scale right now. So I think we could fix that pretty easily. I don't know. Just something like this. Just basically move it out a block on both sides. Now let's see what it looks like. I think that looks more proportional. I think. We'll see in a second here. I like that way more. I do. So what am I doing here is kind of the question right now. Because I got nothing, I'm not gonna lie. That looks fine. I mean, that looks all right. It's kind of boring. But then there's this thing up top. I'm kind of like jumping around a lot here. I'm not really settling on one thing. But there's like this detail up here. Actually, first, I'm gonna texture this. Because I think it'll look bad no matter what I do if this is just wool, you know? Something like that looks fine, I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of this. Low-key, I think the white looks better. Like white slab. I think it kind of like preserves the kind of look I'm going for here. I make it connected here better. Yeah, I like that. I mean, you can barely see the gray anyway in real life. All right, anyway, let's figure out what we're doing with this like weird thing going on here. I'm obviously talking about like this stuff. I have the picture at the top the whole time, but I don't know, whatever. So I'm talking about this. I don't know how to do this really. Fence trapdoors. I don't think I'll be able to do these diagonal ones, but I'll try. I'll try something. I'll figure something out. Like, I think something like that might just be like the middle ground we can realistically get. I don't think I can do the diagonal ones. I just really don't. I'll kind of look around and see if there's anything. Give me a second here. Maybe, I can't tell if I like that or not. I think I might like that. I'm not sure. Do I like that? From a distance, yes, I think. This house looks sick. All right, I'm cooking. I'm cooking. We'll leave that for now. I might get rid of it. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, I guess I don't really know what's even left to do, like with the shape. I think we have the shape completely done, because this obviously goes over here. We don't have anything left to figure out, basically, which feels good, because that takes, like, forever. But this is obviously the roof height. So this goes like that, basically until it meets the other side, right? So I guess we'll figure out where that goes right now. We'll see kind of how the height looks. That's really not bad, especially from the ground. I mean, that's so tough. Like, oh my God. Like, I'm cooking, Chad, I'm cooking. All right, so this goes all the way over, like way over. We'll leave the white trim on it for now. I don't think I'm gonna have the white trim on this side. I think the white trim will only be here, but we'll keep it for now, just kind of, you know, placeholder block, you know? All right, that's that part. And then over here, like this, and it should be a block shorter. So it'll be 19 across, I think. Not at all, actually. I low-key don't remember the measurements, or I'm not gonna lie. It'll just be one block shorter, all right? The measurement doesn't matter. It does not matter. That should, beautiful, literally perfect, like actually perfect. All right, let's take a look at this kind of shape here. Amazing, actually incredible, literally perfect. All right, next up, we're gonna fill this whole roof in. Shout out World Edit, man. By the way, if you're watching this the day I uploaded it, Happy New Year's, you know? Shout out New Year's, but you know, we're slowly filling this in, all right? We're slowly filling this in. By the way, if this is the first video you've seen from me, I'd appreciate if you subscribed, either closing in on or just hit 65K when this is uploaded. So, you know, I really appreciate all the support recently. I also got a Discord link down below, discord.gg/rowannn with 2 N's. A lot of cool people in there. We got a build showcase stuff. A lot of people just kind of send builds in there, get feedback. Pretty cool community forming over there. So, you know, I'd appreciate you checking it out. I also stream on Twitch. So, you know, consider stopping by the streams. I stream on YouTube too, but, you know, I like plugging the Twitch more. If you guys get Amazon Prime, you know, consider, you know, dropping a Twitch Prime sub. It's literally free and it supports me. So, you know, I'd appreciate it. But anyway, get to building this. All right, I'm gonna shut up. I'm gonna stop promoting. Yeah, all right, you guys don't care. Come on, let's be real. Let's be real. All right, that's the roof shape in. And it's kind of sick. All right, I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of sick. Let's kind of just get to filling in blocks. We got all this to fill in. And I'm just gonna mostly world edit, but also by hand, fill it in with gray wool. We'll get around to texturing it later. But for now, I just kind of want to get this like general just shape done, you know? Kind of a nice blank canvas to work with. Not a fan of this like kind of trim I left on there. We're just gonna do all stone brick. I'll just put trapdoors under or something. I don't know. It'll look fine, I think. Well, I do like it on the front. Do I like it on the front? I think I like it on the front. Do I? I think I do. No, I low-key have no idea. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah, we're keeping it. All right, the kind of just bland shape is done. Finally. I think we're gonna get out of the way first is just actually the foundation. Zero thought that needs to go into this. Just a little bit of kind of ruined sort of texturing here, and we're done, you know? And then I think we're gonna start looking for window placement, which is never that fun, honestly, but it's necessary. All right, it has to be done, you know? And it makes a huge difference, obviously, having windows, so it's whatever. Perfect. Well, decent. All right, foundation done. So we don't even think about that ever again. Anyway, windows, I guess. So I think it's time to make an executive decision, okay? does a basement need to exist? You know what I mean? Like, no, it doesn't. So I'm not going to, and not just because it's 6 in the morning and I'm very tired. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna assume this is on just a flat mass of just like, you know, just a flat plane, okay? Because it won't really add much anyway. You view it from the front, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna keep this whole thing going on back here, but I'm gonna just make it level with the ground, obviously. But we are still gonna get all these windows in. So let's start with this. We got a garage, which will go maybe 2 blocks to the right of here. So that's pretty simple. And we just got a lot of windows. I'm just gonna get all the windows in. I mean, you don't really care how I commentate this, you know what I mean? It's just a lot of windows that I'm gonna get in at a rapid pace. I'm just lock in. All right, every window positioned beautifully. All right, I'll add beautifully. I'm gonna get this back part in real quick. Now it's kind of interesting. I think it's lined up, I'd say, with this front part about. So I'm gonna assume it's just the same like scale, but with slabs instead. If I get a height on it, it would be nice, but I don't know if it's gonna be that possible. A block above this window, maybe roughly in line with the front porch. Sure, that should work. Roughly here-ish we'll go for, because I'd like to be able to hang this thing on the bottom of it. Comes out maybe something like that. I like it. Doesn't really overhang though. So I think what we're gonna do for this bottom part, like there's a porch here that we're not gonna have, right? But I think we could still kind of get the effect of like a porch, you know what I mean? Again, I can't really see what's going on here. I'm just gonna kind of guess what's going on back here. Can't see. And then after we finish this part, we'll start texturing the walls and getting the windows in, and then we're really almost done. A couple small details around the plants in the front, for example, some roof vents, that kind of thing. But like effectively done, you know what I mean? Go something like that. It's kind of got this like fancy, like, as a dumb word, almost like presidential looking like stuff going on. So let's go something like that. And we got a fence here, obviously. I could kind of see, because again, this is meant to be like elevated a bit. Low-key, beautiful. Maybe we copy the door from the front. All right, perfect. Okay, perfect-ish, perfect enough. All right, I know I'm joking about the fact that I'm not caring, but I'm really happy with this house coming out. Just a lot of like details on the back that I can't really see. So they're kind of like not like worth talking about much, honestly, but that's the skeleton of everything that I have to get in basically done. So I think what I'm gonna do next, actually there's like this weird thing here, this thing. So I'm just gonna kind of vaguely get that in. But after that, I'm gonna put the trim around every window and then I'm gonna texture the walls, and that'll take forever, but I'm gonna do it because I think it'll make a massive difference. So yeah, we'll get this weird box thing in and then we'll just go straight to the windows. All right, windows are done. I don't know why I just clapped, but windows are done. We got to texture everything. Walls first, and then we'll texture the roof, and then we'll get kind of the driveway, the front path, front garden sort of area, and then I think we're done. I'm texturing a Minecraft house at almost 7 in the morning. It's just great. Happy New Year. All right, walls are textured, you know? We're getting there, all right? We're getting there, yeah. I'm sure it took 10 seconds for you. I'll text the roof real quick. This is the original palette I had, and I'm probably gonna stick to it mostly. Just kind of highlights of andesite, not a whole lot. I just have to like kind of differentiate it. Let's kind of start with the slab part, a bit of a warm up, you know? At least it should be kind of a bit of warm up, I don't know, maybe not. And yeah, just something like that, just kind of around to just add a bit more something going on, you know? I know it's not like this in the actual house, but I think I am going to, put like kind of a trim on it. It just, I just think it kind of needs it. I think like at least this bottom part, because it just kind of looks abrupt, like it just abruptly cuts off without the trim. But I think with the trim, kind of just frames it nice. I like the way it looks, so I think I'll just kind of do that a bit. But it's kind of the slab part already basically done. It's kind of beautiful. I don't know. I like it. Banger. Stair time. All right, I think that's the roof textured. I'm happy with the whole texturing for the whole house. I'll do a quick fly around. Maybe you don't like it. I don't know. Some of it's a bit different than like what I'd usually do, but I think it's kind of just a very large, empty, like gray space. I don't just want to put small splotches. I kind of went for a bit of a different sort of look, but I like it. That's basically the house done. We have a couple notable things: the whole front yard with the driveway, and then also a bunch of roof vents. So I think I'll get the roof vent stuff in first. Kind of just one vaguely here. Just again, just kind of guessing. It's not that serious, really. Like honestly, it just doesn't matter. There's one a bit to the left of here. We'll go right here. Maybe this will be an end rod. And there's one vaguely here, which will also be a skull. And all right, roof vent's done. I'm gonna, I guess, get started on the front. I don't know. Sidewalk is simple. Comes out 2 blocks from here. Maybe we'll do. And this is just a generic slant. So honestly, pretty simple stuff here, really. Any other details I'm really missing? Not really. I guess I'll maybe put some chairs there. Maybe not. It depends on, actually, we're doing this street view. So we actually won't put any chairs there because I want it to match. We'll get some gutters around, mulch, plants, this electrical thing, some kind of plug here. That's a hose, actually, my bad. I think kind of just because it goes in the ground, so I actually don't know. Mailbox, maybe, I don't know. Get some details in, and then I'm probably just gonna call it. Real quick, this house is dedicated to Valushra, who gifted like 40 subs on my Twitch channel. I really appreciate it. But with that, that's the house done. Come on, like tell me I didn't cook here, okay? Like actually, like this is a banger, right? Like come on, let's get side by side, right? Let's get side by side. Like come on, like that's a banger. I'm really happy with it. Let me know down below if you enjoyed this video. If you did, consider subscribing. I'd really appreciate it. Join the Discord, join the Patreon. Maybe follow me on Twitch. I stream very often, also on YouTube, but you know, Twitch, YouTube, either way, I appreciate it. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye. And shout out to my patrons, Aelic, ThaMango, Luke 007, Tommi, Natural High, and of course, Sai. See ya.